Although I've been a long-time Apple user, I've mentioned this many times here on the channel, this is mostly out of just habit. There's nothing about the iPhone or iOS that really attracts me that much, and I've been wanting for a while to experiment. Somebody just rode a bike here just now and ruined my take. And I've been wanting to try other phones by other makers for quite a while. And the good folks over at Samsung made that happen by sending me this, the Galaxy S10, which is, I gotta say right off the bat, probably the best phone I ever used in my life. Let's compare and contrast, shall we? Alright everybody, so this right here is the Samsung Galaxy S10. I've had this for a little while, but I wanted to get some miles out of it to really get familiarized with both Android, which I have some limited experience with, and the S10 itself. So right off the bat, about the design quality. This is, I mean, it's a bit of a fingerprint magnet, as you can see, but it is a pretty flawless device when it comes to the industrial design. On the top here, you got the SIM card tray right there. You got a microphone right here for noise canceling, I presume, because that's not the microphone that you talk into when you're picking up a phone call. Right here on the side, you got the volume rocker and the Bixby assistant button here on this side. On this side here, you got the on-off switch. And looking at the bottom, you got the speaker grill, the microphone, USB Type-C charging port, which I appreciate. And absent from my iPhone, and really every iPhone nowadays, an actual headphone jack. Now, mea culpa here for a second. When phones started ditching the headphone jack, I thought it would be a good thing because that would push the adoption of Bluetooth technology forward. Bluetooth technology is nothing new, but a lot of people still have some resistance towards using, say, Bluetooth headphones, right, to replace wired headphones. And I always thought that wires are they're kind of an archaic technology when it comes to listening to music anyway. The idea that my head is physically tethered to something that's in my pocket, it creates problems. Sometimes if I'm, I don't know, walking around cleaning the house and I got wired headphones on, which doesn't happen so much anymore, and then the wire would snag on door handles and things like that, it would yank the headphones right out of my ear. I'm not a fan, right? But not having that jack is a problem onto itself, because there's been so many situations where I needed to plug something in there, and I've long lost the little adapter that Apple gives you to plug in your regular headphones to your phone. So I have to say, it was a breath of fresh air to see the headphone jack again. Size-wise, the phones are pretty comparable. The S10 isn't that much bigger, but it has bigger screen real estate, clearly. Like, it's not much thicker, and it's not a lot bigger, but the screen is noticeably bigger because the bezels are a little bit thinner. And let's talk about that notch, right? So when the iPhone introduced iPhone 10, we all kind of wondered what was going on here, right? So that's where they hide the speaker, the camera, the IR sensor, the technology that enables Face ID to work, the proximity sensor to turn off the screen when you're in the middle of a phone call. All of that is hidden in that notch, and it wasn't the most elegant of solutions. So what Samsung did here is something that I like a little bit more. The speaker grill here is, so I'm gonna bring it closer here so you can see, it's tiny. It's right there, you can barely see it right there, that's where it is. And then you got that camera here, which is right in the corner. Depending on the angle you're holding the phone, depending on which app you have open, or in this case the wallpaper, it's even easier to not see that camera hole there. Though, to be fair, if you were to apply the same kind of conditions to the iPhone, the notch would become a little invisible too. Not with this wallpaper. As you can see, I can bring them side by side, and the notch, even with this same wallpaper, is still way more noticeable than the camera hole is. So there's that. It's definitely less intrusive, and it's one of those things that after you're using the phone for maybe like 20 minutes, you don't even see that camera anymore. So I like that implementation way more than I like the notch on the iPhone 10. I guess we can talk about specs here a little bit. So this is running Android 9. It has a screen size of 6.1 inch, and it's a gorgeous screen, and the way it kind of bends around the edges here, it just makes it so the bezel feels even thinner, barely there. The screen feels gigantic. It's a different experience for sure. When it comes to storage, it comes in two flavors, 128 gigs and 512 gigs. And as is usually the case with Android phones, you can actually throw in a micro SD in there to increase the storage capacity of your S10, something Apple will likely never ever do. You know, I gotta say this because this has been a personal pet peeve of mine for a very long time with Apple. I travel a lot and I do a lot of my editing on the road on both my iPhone and the iPad. And I understand that Apple's business model is to not allow the customer to expand the storage of their devices. I understand. The problem is, if they were to allow you to plug in a micro SD card or something like that, even to just transfer photos, not to expand the memory, they could lock that functionality out. If they would at least allow me to transfer my footage and my pictures to my phone or my iPad so I could edit, that would be already so helpful. And I understand that they sell you devices that do that, but one, they're selling you something that really a lot of other manufacturers will just give you, the ability to transfer your photos by putting the SD card inside the device. And plus, it's one more thing to carry around and lose. Case in point, I don't know where my iPad camera kit is. It's such an iPhone user thing to say that I'm giving them points for allowing me to put a micro SD card inside the phone, but that goes to show how many simple things I've been missing out on because I've been an iPhone user for all these years. The battery on the S10 comes at 3400 milliamp hour, which is more than my iPhone 10, and not only that, but the S10 has a very, very interesting feature called wireless power share. So basically what this does is it turns your phone into a Qi charger. So once it's on, I can just put my iPhone right here and it'll charge my iPhone. So that's pretty awesome. Again, the walled garden nature of the Apple experience rears its ugly head. If Apple were ever to copy Samsung on that, which wouldn't surprise me, it probably would lock that feature to iPhone or iPhone to Apple Watch only, whereas the S10, when it comes to power share, is system agnostic. You can charge anything that is Qi compatible. The cameras on this thing are pretty impressive as well. You have a 10 megapixel shooter here on the front, which is your average a selfie camera. It's pretty good, but it's just a selfie camera. The thing that I find most interesting is in the back here. So you have 3 cameras. You got one 16 megapixel camera and 2 12 megapixel cameras. The most awesome thing about those cameras, in my opinion, is the fact that one of them is a wide angle shooter, which allows you to get so much more context in both your pictures and your footage. For vloggers, I find that awesome because you combine basically the wide angle of a GoPro, but the connectivity of a smartphone, the ability to edit your videos right on the device, something you can't do on a GoPro. Also, you have that headphone jack, which can be used to plug in, let me see if I have it here, a lapel mic, which again, I could plug into my iPhone, but I need one more thing that goes into this little end here. With that wide angle lens and a lapel mic and its connectivity, this would make for an awesome live streaming platform. When it comes to performance, the S10 is also no slouch. With a Snapdragon 855 processor and 8 gigs of RAM, it'll run pretty much anything you could ever want to run on a cell phone. I gotta say, this is the complete package. As a content creator myself, the things that I really appreciate about using this phone, especially contrasting with the phone that I've been using for so long, is the ability to transfer my footage and my photos to the phone where I can edit and then share them, upload them to my social media or anything like that. I like that it's easy to plug in a lapel mic so I can use this to live stream. That wide angle lens is probably the thing I like them. It might be weird. Maybe this is just me because I'm a YouTuber, I do live streams, but that wide angle lens is a game changer. To get some kind of functionality like that on my phone, I gotta like glue something to the back of this thing here. No. I gotta say though, this probably comes as no surprise. The Galaxy S10 really raises the bar when it comes to cell phones. And it is by far the most premium cell phone I've ever used. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything you'd like me to bring here to the channel, some console, phone, tablet, whatever. Let me know. Big thanks to Samsung for allowing me the opportunity to try this phone. Oh hey, I almost forgot. 99 Vitas, my indie game based on my Brazilian gaming podcast of the same name, is now available on the Switch, which is my favorite way to play the game. 99 Vitas, which by the way means 99 lives in Portuguese, is a 16-bit inspired street brawler in the style of classics like Captain Commando or Streets of Rage. There are tons of unlockable characters, bonus levels, challenging boss fights, there's an online mode. We put a lot of thought and work into 99 Vitas, and I think you will find that it shows. I did my own voice acting and everything. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but the soundtrack on this thing alone is worth the price of admission in my opinion. Just like every other Switch fan out there, we hate the so-called Switch tax, where indie games land on the eShop with a higher price point than their Steam versions. So 99 Vitas is actually cheaper on the Switch than on Steam right now, only $10. And hey, don't just take my word for it, there's a demo for you to try it free. So go to the eShop right now and download 99 Vitas. And that's all the time I have for today. I'm Izzy and I'm done.